I would also like to thank everybody from the administration to the SID's office, to admissions, to all the professors on campus that had a big role in us signing this class. It takes a herd of a lot of people to convince these kids to come here over a number of other schools. So thank you very much. And with that said, we're excited to announce the 2011 class. There's 16 new signees, 1 junior college transfer, and then 16 players that have also signed or accepted BSU's offer of admission to play at BSU also. Our goal this year was not to get any specific area, not to load up on linemen or D-backs, that kind of thing. It was honestly to reload at every spot. And I think when you look on here, you'll see that we did exactly that. Tried as always to get the best athletes. I think we have a fun group that is definitely a fit for the area. We've got more snowmobilers and guys that are going to keep Arctic Cat and Polaris and building and making a living this year than anybody. We've got some fun kids that have been up here a ton, and then we've got some guys that really came here for the academics and the football reputation right now. So with that said, I'd like to talk about each guy just briefly. Colton Vlasic is from Kensington, Minnesota, West Central High School. Guy that just wanted to be here. He's a safety that runs the alley really hard, big hitter, and I don't know if there's a recruit that wanted to be here anymore, and that's very, very important. Greg Button was our #1 ranked inside linebacker, and to get him, we were extremely pleased. Just a big, big time hitter, and his dad suffered through the flu, and if you happen to be watching, I appreciate you doing that all weekend when he was here. So that's Greg. Brian Grant from Mundelein, Wisconsin, or Illinois, and Brian's an athlete that can play wide out, D-back, and just a good all-around athlete. Jermel Harris is from Orland Park, my middle school, Carl Sandburg Junior High. That's why I fell in love with him. But probably the back that gives us the opportunity to have a big play that we recruited in a long time. We've had some good steady backs right now, and they're doing a good job, but I think that's the thing that we noticed about Jermel is it gives us an opportunity to really break a big play. So he's exciting. Tyler Irvin is one of the big snowmobile guys here. I think he's been up here 3 or 4 times this winter. He has a friend who has an uncle, Scott Kurtzwig, in town, so they come up all the time. We're just excited. Tyler loves the area, brings a lot of athletic ability. I keep teasing him, he should be a decathlon type of guy. He's really good in sprints, the shot, all sorts of different things, let alone he brings a lot of talent to the quarterback position. So we're excited for Tyler. One of the guys I'm just in love with is Jordan Skowiak. I think as good a player as we recruited on film. He could play outside linebacker, tight end, and he just really brings possibly that second tight end type of offense that we haven't been able to run here. Be a great compliment to Brian Leonhardt. So we're excited for Jordan. We've got one of the local guys, Chris Osby, from obviously the good Grigla High School team this year. Just a local guy that, again, is a perfect fit. A lot of fun stories from up there. Had my first goat cheese ever at his house for a home visit this year. Found out I like goat cheese now. Lots of fun up there at Chris's house. Connor Quinn from Geneva, Wisconsin, athletic outside linebacker, running back. That just wanted to be here, kind of came down to us in a Michigan school or two. So we're excited about Connor. And then we've been going down to Georgia the last 2 years and starting to pay off, getting the connections. And Nick Sapanera is a wide receiver that tested out extremely well in the combines. Probably going to be one of the kids that has a chance to get close to 40 inches in the vertical jump. He claims he can do it, where I think he will before it's all said and done. But very athletic, good jumper, and that's one thing we're looking for as a kid that you can throw the ball up to, like we used to do at George Cadillac, and throw those fades up, and we haven't had that here of late. So that's what we hope Nick can do. Matt Siebert from right down the road at Greenway Coleraine, again, another kid that just loves the area, the recreational opportunities the school has to offer, and we got to see him at a camp this last summer, and he just gets off the ball really well for a big 300-pound guy. John Smith, a little bit taller, wide receiver from Joliet, and he was one that, as Coach Stoner was talking about, had a hard time getting out of the driveway to get to a fax machine today with everything that's going on in Chicago. But we're excited just about his speed and the deep ball threat that we're trying to improve on right now. Mario Stevens is a kid from Chippewa Falls that had some Division I walk-on opportunities with a lot of Division II scholarship opportunities. We needed to reload with D-line with losing our two DNs this year. So he was a big get for us. He's a big kid that can really run well. So we're excited to have Mario. And then we did a little bit, as you can see, with California. Andrew Tibbs, the best way I could say it, is a friend of a friend, connection type of thing. Or he basically went online, fell in love with our school online. So just give kudos to the online world now. And just thought it was a place where a kid from California wanted to come to cold weather. Go figure. So we're excited about Andrew. This kid has a huge, wide frame that is easily going to be a 300-pound kid. We also needed a long snapper, and he does that well with Jordan graduating this year. So we needed a long snapper. Dylan Valentine is Temecula, California, which is about halfway from San Diego up to Los Angeles. He's our #1 rated corner on the board. Runs extremely well, and we got a coach that has some ties down there, Chaparral High School, so he came on campus and worked out and did everything that we thought he would on film. So very excited to get Dylan here. And then Deshaun Waters is another one from Grossmont, which is basically San Diego. And Deshaun is an athlete. That's what we put him down there for. He can play halfback, slot receiver, D-back, and I think he may be one of the steals of the class. He just kind of slipped through the cracks and is a great player, and we're excited. So a little bit of California connections, and we've had a few guys on our team from there. Adrian Dunn, one of our graduate assistants, did a great job with some of those recruits. So Pat Morris has been helping us out too. So those guys did a good job. So, and the other transfer player is Derek Jordan. Again, losing both Rob Wills and Jordan, our two starting DNs. We thought we may need a little junior college help. I think you guys know we don't do a lot of that, but he's from Chaffee Junior College, originally from South Carolina, and he's on campus right now, and we'll be able to learn our system and get acclimated this spring, so that'll help. Then, you know, time-wise, there's probably not time to talk about every signee that is also coming. A couple of fun ones. You have kids down here that'll be the heart and soul of your team, and you either run out of money or whatever, but these kids are really talented players. We have another one who wanted to be here, Brandon Seifert, and Brandon has been up here and offers all over the place, and he's a talented receiver. And then one of the fun ones down there is Otto. Taylor Otto is his uncle is Joel that played hockey here. And his dad, along with 3 other Otto boys, if I'm saying this right, I think there's 3 others. One was a quarterback when I was in North Dakota. His dad played for the Gophers. And Joel played here, obviously a very talented family. So we expect Taylor to be as good as all of his uncles. If he doesn't, then something's wrong. But a lot of talent there. I'm excited to have another Otto. So that kind of summarizes the class, and we'll take questions.
Coach, you were mentioning that, you know, losing Rob and Jordan on DNs, you wanted to load up on that. How do you feel that, you know, you got Derek Jr. transfer, and how do you feel Mario will help out and you got another DN on there as well? What do you guys like about these DNs that could probably help for you guys?
Well, it's always close. There's some spots I think are easier to play as true freshmen than others. The line on both sides is pretty tough. If you've got that size or strength is probably the key factor. Derek's got a couple years of junior college ball in, so that's going to help him. But we needed depth. We obviously have some other good players on campus that are redshirted freshmen that'll get thrown into the mix, but you cannot have enough good defensive linemen. Those are the guys that I think have been giving us a chance to win a lot of ball games for the last 4 or 5 years, and we've got to reload there. Any other questions?
Yeah. Your wideouts, I just noticed they're all 6+, and that's rare to get 4 of them like that.
That was the goal, to get a taller wide receiver. You know, our receivers are getting old. We graduated Andrew Schultz, and then We've got, I think, 2 of the 4 will be seniors, the others will be juniors. And one thing we just didn't feel we did was throw the ball up, throw it up high, get a kid that could jump and throw that fade game. And so as we are looking at our wide receivers, we did want to try and get a little bit taller athlete out there.
D-backs are a little taller too.
I think, maybe. But I tell you what they can really do is run. We were really excited with what Valentine did on his highlights and his game film and everything. So, you know, some good quality kids there, and they all jump well, so we'll see how they play.
Coach, you guys got 5 offensive linemen signing. You have Alonzo and Brett Ledan going to be juniors next year, and Davis and Corey are going to be seniors. Talk about the linemen that you come in, and especially Chris Osby from Grigla and Matt Siebert from Greenway. What do you like about those 2 guys?
I think they'll be ready to play in a year after they redshirt. And you're right, we probably will have 3 linemen graduating next year, and 2 will be juniors. So we needed that next generation of guys. We obviously got a few last year, but again, as the adage is, you cannot have enough big guys on your team. And they're local, and that's the fun part about it, is they're right here in your backyard, and to do well with those kind of guys helps. And that was on purpose, just to reload for the guys with how old we're getting in the offensive line. Anything else? Yeah.
Yeah, you talked about your connections in California. Can you go over that a little bit again for me and help me understand a little more?
Well, we have Adrian Dunn, who was one of our former D linemen, and then he's a graduate assistant right now, so ties to the area. And Pat Morris has been helping us coach this year, and he's worked at California junior colleges before. And then between having the Michael Nordikes and guys like that, former players on our team, sometimes you've got to go a little ways to get some of the players. Sometimes you run into that tough sled with a defending champion like Duluth or the Division I AA schools in the Dakotas. So we found some guys there, and believe me, they had opportunities at other places. And you know, we joke about how cold it can be here in the winter, and those kids were right up here in the dead of the winter, and they still came. And that's the part where you compliment the administration and players for hosting and everything, and they did such a good job. The kids felt at home here, and they're coming. So those are some of the ties we had on with Adrian and Pat, and just some of the former players we've had.
Coach, you mentioned Dylan Valentine. What stands out about Dylan? You said he was the #1 D-back on your list. What really stands out about him when you've watched him?
Just speed, closing speed. You talk about defensive backs, back pedal. When they throw, you have to stop, and how fast you can go from a back pedal to forward, something that combine scouts, pros evaluate draft choices on. When he plants, he can go from going backwards to forwards about as fast as any kid, any recruit we've had. So change of directions, good athletic hips, and he's a good hitter too. Sometimes those corners, they just hope to grab on, and they're out there just to cover, and they're not going to hit anybody, but he'll do both. He can cover one-on-one, and he can deliver a good blow.
I want to say it was either 06 or 07, maybe Brad can help me too, but 49 I think you signed. Was that record? 07? Does this speak to the depth that you don't have to sign as many guys?
Well, we didn't graduate as many off of this year's team, so those are the dollars that you have to work with to go out and offer other guys to come to your program. So that's probably it in a nutshell, but we're retaining more guys also, and then there's caps, which we didn't have back then too, on how many guys you're allowed to have on your team. So our cap is more in that 100 area, and before it might have been a dozen, 2 dozen more guys. So I think it allows you to get more quality players, and you know, from player 1 to 100, we're probably deeper that way than we were 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
Did you go to Alaska this year?
I did not. We had some good recruits, and there actually is still a couple that we're talking to right now, but the time when it was the time to go up there and visit, some of the better players didn't have test scores yet. So they say you have to be a student athlete also to come here. Well, I abide by that. We didn't go up there, but there's a couple of good kids left that could possibly be guys that might join the team late. And we do have one other guy that kind of between weather and everything else that we're still working on, and so there may be a few guys joining the team within a week.
Coach, you mentioned that this year you didn't really have to focus on a particular side of the ball. Is that something that you like in recruiting, that you don't have to focus on a particular side of the ball, or?
Both have their good and the bad. You know, this way it's just every position coach you can look for linemen, you can look for D-backs. Sometimes it's a little bit easier just to specifically say we're going to load up on big guys this year, but you'd rather not, because if you have a year like that, then you're going to have a hole in 2-3 other years with other positions. So in a perfect world, we're very happy with the way the team's shaping up, that we just needed a few guys at each spot to fill in.
You said Button was your #1 linebacker and Valentine's your #1 corner. How often do you get #1 players that you have charted out on your boards?
Every single year. No, jokes aside. I wish we could say that. You know, we get asked all the time, how do you feel about your recruiting class? And every coach is going to say great, but not always. You know, you hope to get 2-3 of those guys every year, and we'll take them, because I think we know when we played good around here, it's been our defense that has given us a chance to win, and you can blitz and do more things, play more aggressively when you got some good athletes in the secondary there. But yeah, it's doesn't happen all the time, but it sure is fun when you get them.
Coach, you mentioned Chris Osby from Grigala, and you got 2 of his teammates, Tyler and Robbie, coming down. What stood out about that Goodrich Grigala team that you got 3 players from that team coming down?
Well, they were, I don't know how many plays away you would say from, you know, winning it all and everything. They had a good football team. And not that often when it's a 9-man team that you keep going. I mean, I've gone down to some of the Texas programs where, you know, coaches say, hey, I got 8 players, and you're like, I believe it after you watch them, but you wouldn't think a 9-man program would have that many. But we just kept putting their highlight films in and watching game film after game film, and they had just a ton of good players this year. So it was kind of an easy one, and again, you certainly try and hit the backyard right away, and that's what we try to do, and it was great. I consider them right in our backyard, and you know, fill the stands with our relatives and everything right here to support those kids. So they had a heck of a group of kids.
Is there a position in a 9-man program that you'll shy away from recruiting just because there's such a difference between 9-man and 11?
You know, I think if you're big, I mean, I think you've got to be the better players in 9-man. They usually stand out. But I wouldn't say we have. We've had some good, skilled kids. Maybe sometimes they can dominate a little bit more at 9-man, a skilled kid that, you know, is maybe only a 4-8 type of guy instead of a 4-5 like you want. But if you're big and you're strong, it doesn't matter. And that's what Chris is. So maybe a little bit of the skills if we were to do that. But again, I think we've always just looked for the best athletes. And if you're a good player, you can play from 9-man to any level, I think.
And Coach, you mentioned that Chris could probably play in, he'll probably redshirt it along with Matt Siebert, but what stands up about those 2 as far as offensive linemen that you really love about them? You know, you got a 6'4" guy and 6'3" guy, pretty big guys right there.
How well they came off the ball. You know, that's one of the first things. As I'm also the offensive line coach, you look for a guy that pops off the ball and gets into the defense real quickly, and they both did that. I mean, Chris ran almost defensive line times when he works out, which is something you can do in Division II. He runs extremely well, and for a 300-pound guy, Matt he explodes off the ball. So that's what I fell in love with both those guys, is how well they got off the ball quickly. Anything else? Okay, well again, we appreciate it very much, all the support today, and thank you.